Hey guys, what's going on? This is Coach Tom with the Strength Agenda, coming to you from my other office, the throwing field. Wanted to take a second here for all of my Highland Games peeps and stuff like that. I've had a couple questions about this. I've posted this in my training group and a couple other spots, but kind of wanted to do a separate video on it, and that is range throwing. Necessarily in terms of like what is range throwing. So the concept, I believe, is something that was, I don't know if it was invented by him, but it was definitely brought into prominence and fruition by Anatoly Bondarchuk, who used to be the national team coach for the Soviet throwing machine back in the day, and then he relocated to Kamloops, British Columbia, had range throwing be a thing. He implemented this system using a variety of different throwing ways. So he had athletes, especially in the hammer throw, that's what he's the most known for. He had athletes throwing light, competition, and heavy hammers. And then he had a specific variety of ranges that he had them throw those hammers in during the season based on where they were in terms of whether they were peaking, whether they were like in their preseason, or whether they were, at the beginning of their season and stuff along those lines. And so when I was in college, my throws coach brought the system to us, and we implemented it as well for the shot, the disc, and the hammer. And I saw a lot of good things from it. So when I started working with athletes, I was kind of looking for a way for them to not be maxing out their throws practices all the time. But by simply, I just don't want them like trying to throw for a PR every chance they got. And then Kerry Overfelt put out a book on Masters Highland Games athletes and how to train for the Highland Games in terms of practice and throws and stuff like that. And he talked about it in his book, and it kind of, hit a light bulb for me, because it was something that I had forgotten about, and then it kind of made a lot of sense once I saw it. So the big thing behind range throwing that you need to keep in mind when you are performing it is based off of, first and foremost, your competition best. I know this is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but nobody gives a crap what your practice PRs matter unless you hit them on the field. So you're going to take your competition best, and you're going to find, whether you use a cone, whether you paint lines, a marker on the field, whatever you want to do, you're going to put a marker at 80% of your best and then 90% of your best. And the goal is that every one of your throws during practice, now obviously take a couple to get into the groove and get warmed up and stuff like that, but every one of your throws should be ending up in this range. And the big reason that this is such a successful method of practice is it's going to allow you to slow down the movement and get a feel for how the positions are supposed to be feeling and moving as you're going through your throws. Also, it's going to give you a good idea of where you're at in terms of your development. In an ideal world, every practice, you should be either just maintaining good consistency in that range, or you should be gradually accumulating more and more throws higher and higher up in that range. And if you're able to blow right outside your range or further past your range with minimal effort, that means you're in good shape for a PR. So I like this again. I am all about not maxing out. If you don't want to max out all your lifts in the gym, you don't want to do the same thing for your throws. So this is another tool in your arsenal that is going to allow you to not only, save some energy and things like that, but it's also going to allow you to accumulate a lot more throws. If you're trying to max out or like hit your PR every single throw, you're going to be limited in the amount of attempts you can take. Whereas this method, it's going to allow you to get a lot of good quality repetitions in and string those practices along throughout the season so that you can have that good continual progress throughout the season without feeling beat up all the time. So range throwing, again, 80 to 90% is the range we want to use. It's based off your competition best, and it's to make sure that we are not going all out in our practices. We're getting good quality throws practices in every time, and that you can learn on technique and get a good feel for your positions and your throws as you're going through the motions. All right, give this a shot. Hopefully it helps somebody out, gives you a little bit better explanation of what range throwing is. We'll see you guys out on the field.